Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going to be talking about the 7 sleepers because Mike mentioned it offhand and everyone but Mike was like, what?
What?
So I looked into the story. They actually have very many names. They're also known as the Companions of the Cave.
Ooh. No, companions like in the cave. They're not companions of that particular cave.
Maybe they're friends with the cave. We don't know.
The cave had great adventures, and they're the companions.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, it's bad enough when you have to be and companions. Imagine if you had to be companions to an inanimate object.
They're also known as Ashab, al-kahf, which
And-
I presume is Arabic for companions of the cave or something.
Mm-hmm. And the sleepers
Cave, cough, yeah.
of Ephesus. They are a Christian, Muslim, and possibly Jewish legend. I did see some ones that were listing out who told a story when that included Jewish writers, so it could be much like, how we have a lot of New Testament stuff from the Jewish historian who's like, I don't believe any of this stuff, but I'm writing it down.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like the group Van Winkle story of up to 8 people and possibly a dog.
Yeah, the core is sleeping for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the core of the legend of the 7 sleepers?
All right. As I stated, the story was told. We have multiple early sources. It was put in important things. There was a group of young men who were possibly soldiers, numbering between 3 and 7 people. There's also possibly a dog or an additional being who watched over them during their sleep, who it seems like an angel. Like, none of those things said an angel, but, if you get the storyline, it's probably an angel.
Well, it's like in the Ascension. Oh, suddenly there's 2 guys in white. Angels.
They either hid inside a cave to escape Roman persecution of Christians around AD 250.
That was the persecution of Decius, which was a particularly nasty one.
Or they went inside a cave to pray after giving away most everything they had to the poor, to essentially go away and pray before they were going to get killed.
Yeah. Lord, give us the strength to face what's coming.
They were possibly near the city of Ephesus at the time. There are multiple caves that are thought to be the cave. A lot of them in Turkey, which is where Ephesus was.
Yep.
Also, a lot of them in Jordan.
Sure.
And then there's like 1 or 2 in another Middle Eastern country.
Well, everybody wants this cave. This is a boss cave.
The emperor then had the cave walled up, and the men fell asleep. But it wasn't just like a normal sleep, of course. It was a deep and holy sleep, because they then slept between 195 and 373 years.
Big numbers.
Yeah.
This is much more than Rip Van Winkle's little 20-year catnap.
I don't know how that works. That's a long time to be asleep.
Yes.
All things are possible with God.
That's fair.
And because they were walled up and they were left in there. Then a landlord removed the wall, possibly to turn it into essentially a barn. They might not have known why it was there. They might have known why it was there. Some stories said that they essentially wrote something on this wall. But if it was, nearly 200 to nearly 400 years later, it could just be like, and everyone assumed they'd be dead anyway. So.
Yeah. Well,
And,
again, caves are fantastic. Caves are great.
yes, and some of the stories pointed out that the emperor at the time and some other people were having questions about whether the resurrection of the dead was true or not. And, of course, then this happened. But anyway, as soon as the light hit them, the men woke up, assuming they had only slept one night. And then one of them went into town to get some food before they were killed with what money they had. He was incredibly surprised because, one, the city is now Christian, so there's crosses and churches everywhere. And the people were, looking at him weird because he's got these really old coins he's trying to buy bread and stuff with. They then went and talked to either the bishop or the emperor or both. And the stories in which it's the emperor, then, of course, the emperor, has the true faith and is like, oh, yes, clearly there's resurrection of the dead because these people who were technically only in a coma for hundreds of years and not actually dead came back. And in a number of the stories, they then immediately dropped dead after, sharing their story with the needed people, and were then put back into the cave as their tomb.
You have provided a miraculous witness. Your job is now done, my good and faithful servant.
Now,
I mean, it's not bad work if you can get it.
the angel or dog show up because in some of the stories, either someone then watches over them this length of time, or they have a dog companion who is either walled up with them or on the other side of the wall, sitting there like Fry's dog from Futurama, only it doesn't die and it's the saddest episode ever.
If you don't cry at Jurassic Bark, you have no soul.
Yeah. Along with, being in various Christian sources, it actually made it into the Qur'an. And it was basically a section of one where it was like, all right, it's noted people know this story, but this is the real story. And in their version, it involved, I believe, 7 people, a dog, and they were there for 300 years plus 9.
309 years, okay.
Which some sources argue back and forth that it's because they use a lunar calendar that equals 300 because of the slight variation. And that's in chapter 18, verses 9 through 22 in the Qur'an.
All right.
Now, they also have tons of feast days.
All the feast days.
Yes. July 7th was their feast day under the Roman Martial.
July 27th.
Sorry, 27th. And then after Vatican II, it got moved to June 27th.
Sure.
August 4th and October 22nd is the day in the Byzantine rites.
They can never do just one.
August 7th was from a 9th century Irish Book of Martyrs. We have August 2nd or 4th and October 22nd or 23rd in Eastern Orthodox churches. And we have April 24th, August 2nd, August 13th, August 23rd, or August 24th in the Syriac Orthodox Church.
Now, part of the reason why these sleepers are so famous is we have to remember, today Ephesus is ruins, but in the early church, this was one of the largest, most important cities in the Roman Empire.
That was either in Turkey or Jordan or one or two other random places.
Ephesus is definitely in Turkey. And Paul spent a couple years there.
I mean, maybe there was a minor city that was also named Ephesus.
Sure, like the multiple Antiochs?
Yeah.
Sure. It was the Springfield of its day.
Yep.
There's one in every state. Guys, you got to check out this cave. This is a great cave.
I mean, I kind of want to find the cave.
It's got some really old, Roman writing on it.
Well, and of course, there is sometimes a slightly corrupt motive to identify why we have the cave. You should definitely spend your tourist bucks here, not over there. Sorry, your pilgrimage bucks here, not over there, because we've got the real cave. Yeah. Really? We're in Jordan. It still works.
Yes. There are a number of churches. And again, it's in a number of the stories it lists the city. Because, again, like some of the earliest ones suggest there were 3 people. Mm-hmm. And then, if you add them all up, you might have 8 people and a dog.
So, we're going to go with 7 people, 1 dog, and an angel.
Sounds good. So go down below and share your thoughts on the Holy Sleepers. Maybe you've got a story you'd like us to look into about some other very miraculous story.
Maybe you live in one of those states that named things after biblical cities, so you have a city near you, and you're like, there's this cave here. Maybe this is the cave. Let's go build a shrine. Don't do that.
It's definitely in Kentucky.
I mean, they have so many caves. It's just probability.
While you're down there, hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell next to it so you get notified when the next episode comes out. And until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.
We should let Doggy out.
We should let Doggy out.
Because that wasn't the bells of an angel. That was a dog who's like, I need to scream outside.